Okay, YouTube friends, with any luck, my children will let me finish this video. We'll see what happens. But I wanted to come on really quick to follow up to the video that I just uploaded previously, which is on how to make your first oil blend product, and show you some tips, give you some insights about carrier oils. Now, carrier oils, they are all exquisite in their own way, but in terms of the way they feel in a product, based on what you're trying to accomplish in the final bit, they don't all function the same way or feel the same way. Some oils are heavier and some oils are lighter. Okay, so that is something that you understand. Something like castor oil or like olive oil, right, would be a heavier oil. It just kind of sits more heavily on the hair and skin. It's usually thicker, it's usually more viscous, it pours out more slowly and more syrupy. A lighter oil would be an oil like sunflower oil, argan oil, right? Those would be lighter oils that are just super light. They don't sit heavily on the skin or hair, and they kind of feel more runny, more flowy. That would be a light oil. One isn't better than the other, it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And then here's a second bit that really helps you figure out oil parts. The second bit is wetness, what I call wetness. So a wet oil is something that even though a product is heavy or light, it doesn't necessarily indicate that it's dry or wet. Like you can have a really heavy oil, like Urangawi or something like that, that is kind of dry, You can have a really heavy oil that is wet, like castor oil or olive oil. Coconut oil, I feel, can go either way. It can be kind of a wet oil or kind of a dry oil, depending on where you are. When I'm in the desert, coconut oil acts like a dry oil. And when I'm on the coast, coconut oil acts more like a wet oil. So a wet oil kind of stays on the skin, and kind of gives it a little bit more glow, stays on the hair. You can feel it a little bit more, even if it is light, okay? A dry oil absorbs really fast. So if you're making an oil for someone with really oily skin, and you're making a face oil for them, you want to use all dry oils in there. No heavy oils, all dry oils that are kind of light. So you'd be going for things like watermelon seed oil, right? If you're making a treatment oil that's going to be rinsed off, I would go with wet, heavier oils. Or I would mix a percentage of the wet, heavier oils with dry oils. Okay, so I'm going to give you with dry, lighter oils, or with just lighter oils, period. So I'm going to give you a quick demo just to give you a feel of what I'm talking about. Okay, so I brought out some Jamaican black castor oil. There are places where you can buy Jamaican black castor oil in bulk, but honestly, I have found this brand to be pretty amazing. So this is just for me, for my at-home use. So I'm going to pour this right here. Ordinarily, I would pour this beforehand in little ramekins to show you, but I'm sitting outside under the jacaranda tree, and the jacaranda flowers are in bloom, so they keep falling down, in addition to a whole bunch of other things that keep falling down, and I don't want them falling in my oils. So I'm doing it as we speak. So here's my arm, right? My inner arm. The inner arm is kind of closest to the skin on your face, so it gives you a better feel for something. You don't want to try an oil to see how it works on something like your leg, for example, because the skin on your lower legs is going to be much drier than the skin on your thigh. But if you try something on your face, or you try something on your inner arm is nice, just in case you have an allergy to an oil or your face doesn't like a certain oil, then you're not walking around with like chorbs and stuff on your face because you tried oil experiments. So the inner arm is kind of a nice delicate area to try oils. So this is Jamaican Black that I just poured on. I'm just going to try to get a drop. And it's very viscous, as you can see. It took that long just to get that one drop on my skin, okay? So you can see the drop. I'm just going to go like that. And we're going to see, as you can see, it's really thick, it's really on there, and we're going to look at it at the end of this video to see how it absorbed. Okay, so that's an example of a heavy wet oil. Okay, so next I'm going to go to a lighter wet oil, which is carrot seed oil. Now, of course, this is just my own at-home use bottle. The regular bottles of carrot seed oil that I have that are unopened, that actually have a brand name on them, are in a room where my children are happily playing, and I'd like them to continue to happily play, and I see one of them at the window now. So we'll see how this video goes. So let me do it here. So a good carrot seed oil, I love the one from Nature with Love has a good one, and Shea Terra Organics also has a great one. Okay, so that's the carrot seed oil. It's the second swoosh that you can see there. Unfortunately, I did it a little close, so on the camera it might look like it's... But this is also a wet oil. But as you can see, it's a wet oil and it's going to leave a glow, but it's much thinner than castor oil. Okay, so it's a rich oil. It's great for use on the face. That's what I use to moisturize my face on most days. And you know, it has a slight fragrance to it. It absorbs really quickly, has a lot of vitamin A, really regenerates the hair and the scalp. It's really a nice, rich, moisturizing oil for the hair that isn't as thick as castor oil. So it can go in both a treatment oil or a final product. But if you're doing it as a final product, I advise not making it the sole thing that goes in there, because some hair types it might be too much, and other hair types that are really oil loving, it's perfect on its own. So using it as like a third of your oil or less is probably an ideal thing. But as you can see, so the carrot oil has been absorbed, okay? So it absorbs really quickly, but it's still wet because it leaves a glow. Other fast absorbing oils that are dry don't leave as much of a glow, and we'll do an experiment with watermelon oil next and you'll see what I mean. But the castor oil is still there and it still feels really sticky, like nothing has happened. Okay, so it's something that if you're using it for skin, if you're using it for something like a facial cleansing oil, then yes, you can use 50% castor, 50% olive oil. It's going to be washed off as oil cleansing goes. I'm not going to do oil cleansing, that's a whole other video, but it's all over the internet, you can find it. Some people only wash their face with oil. I wash my face with honey, that's what works for me. So you can do a whole oil cleansing thing with that. So that's wet oils, okay, and slightly heavier oils. Now let's look at some light oils. And one light oil that's really popular right now is watermelon seed oil. This particular bottle is from Nature with Love. It was left over from a custom order that I do for one of my private label clients, and so I just used it for myself. But anyway, so here's some watermelon seed oil. I'm trying to get my arm on camera. Okay, so I'm going to pour some drops here so you can see me pouring it on. Okay, and that's ooh, you can, I don't know if you caught that, but I tried to do one drop and I was too busy looking at the camera. I ended up doing 2 or 3, and I still have some on my finger, so I'll just put some over here. I was trying to avoid my scar so you can just see a piece of skin that is clear. Let's see what angle. Okay, like this maybe, but it's already absorbed. Okay, you can still see some shine right there, but honestly it feels like it's in there already. So this is a really moisture rich oil that is very fast, it's very light, and it's very dry in that it doesn't leave a greasy feel on the skin. It doesn't leave a greasy feel in the hair, not as greasy as most oils. So I like to use it as a finishing oil on my kids' hair, or I'll use it as a facial oil for myself. I love it in shea butter blends because you get the same richness and moisturization, but shea is so rich. Adding a lot of lighter oils and drier oils is always a great way to balance, the blends. So you really always want to be going for that mix of heavy and light in a blend. So you're getting both. You want to get a mixture of wet and dry. Okay. In my ebook on conditioners, I have a whole section on oils, and with each oil that I've tried, I share what I found to be wet, what I found to be dry, what I found to be heavy. So it's a great way to kind of see what oils will work for you before you order them, and then you can experiment on your own as well. But it kind of helps to eliminate a lot of trial and error. So I want to share this oil with you super fast. It's from, let me see if I can get this on camera without it being, it's from Shea Terra Organics. It is Egyptian calendula seed oil. Everything she does is fair trade. She works with women cooperatives from Cape to Cairo, as I like to say, the whole continent. She has really amazing oils. Her name is Tammy Umbel, and I think she's a homeschooling mom of like 7 or 8 kids. Faithful, devout woman. I think she's Muslim, and she just makes these amazing oils. And yeah, amazing oils, amazing products. And I've been using her for years and years and years, like since I first, I would say since 98, since about 1998, and she's been open since before that. And her quality never fails. The best carrot seed oil, the best watermelon seed oil, and like heirloom watermelon seed oil, like from Kalahari melon seed, which is the original watermelons, right, that come from southern Africa, that now have been hybridized and look different in different places. But that melon seed oil is just exquisite. But anyway, what's different about this is that it is from the seed of the calendula oil. So this is not an infusion. It's calendula seeds that have been cold pressed. This is not the essential oil either. We all know about calendula essential oil. We know about calendula flowers for infusion. I have a video that's in the works that's being edited now that's solely about calendula. An amazing plant. But calendula seed cold pressed, this is the only place I've ever seen it. So this is a really nice addition. I have found that it is, so I'm running out of arm space here. I have found it to be quite rich, but it absorbs really fast. It gives a nice glow without being greasy. So it's kind of like a perfect mix between dry and wet. It's very medicinal. So if you need to make a blend with calendula, but you're short on time to infuse something, this is a nice substitute. It's a bit pricey, but if you buy $75 or more, you get 30%. You get free shipping, and if you join her newsletter, every month she gives a 30% off coupon. So just plan on spending more than $75, and plan on getting the coupon, and that kind of reduces your cost, and you're making an exquisite product with an exquisite rare oil. Just charge accordingly so that you can feel generous and do what it do. I know that was not a scientific explanation, but it's the words that came to me. Okay, so let's do apricot kernel oil last. Okay, so this one is a let me use the lid here. This one is a very light oil. It's also very inexpensive oil. And if you can get it, the cold pressed organic, it actually has that fragrance of apricot. So it's a really nice way to add some gentleness to an unscented blend that maybe has things that maybe smell more harshly. So I'm going to add a drop. I'm going to try to add a drop this time. Whoops, of course I added 2 drops because it's so light it just rushes out without a drop or bottle. But as you can see, it's a pretty wet oil, but it also absorbs fast, but leaves a bit of a glow on the skin. So it's perfect as a finishing oil, or as something to add to your finishing oil. It's perfect in oil blends. Actually, this is kind of going on kind of dry. It feels, the thing is that why I call it a wet oil even though it looks dry is that it feels really dewy. Like with the watermelon oil, see, you can't even tell a trace of where it was. You know, the skin it feels soft and it feels hydrated, but there's no shine to it whatsoever. You know, so some people are really averse to any kind of oil and shine, and you know, they don't want to feel greasy. You know, watermelon oil is perfect for people like that, you know, but it still gives the skin the same nutrition that the other kind of oils do. Apricot seed is pretty great. It's a great filler oil that's still exquisite and nutritious, but kind of will help to keep your costs down. It absorbs easily. It's nice and light. It feels good on the skin. It doesn't. It still feels a little bit more shiny than, say, watermelon seed does. Okay, so you know, you just want to play with the oils like that, and look at reviews, see what people say. That'll give you. They don't use the words wet, dry, fast, slow. They usually use fast or slow or heavy or light, but they don't use wet or dry. But when you read their description, you'll be able to figure out what that is. So you want to blend your oils in that way. If you're doing a face oil, you want to do a lot of dry oils with a little bit of nutritious wet oils like the calendula seed, like the carrot seed. If you're going to go to formulate a sample shop, or you're going to make your own infusion, whichever way you go, you know, you want to get, you know, like goji berry and acai and green tea, rooibos. Get extracts like that are really rich in certain vitamins and minerals and nutrients and stuff. Yeah, so that is that in terms of carrier oils. In terms of infusions, sesame, olive, sunflower, rice bran, grapeseed oil. Those are great oils to use as sort of carriers for your infusions. Obviously there are a ton more. I hope I said sunflower and safflower both work well. Soybean oil also works well, but then you have the issue of GMO, because most soybean oils are going to be GMO. But you know, maybe some people don't care as much if it's for skin. I try not to support GMO just because of what it does to the planet and the ecology. So, you know, just to be cognizant of that. But it is a beautiful oil if you can find it organic, that works amazingly on the skin and hair. All right, I think that's enough for this video. I didn't expect it to be this long, but there you go. I guess I had a lot to say.